back on track again in the next few years. And that, of course, is quality of life. One of the things that technology enables you to do is literally, with the world at your fingertips, geography doesn't much matter anymore. So if you find a place in which you wish to stay, you can still do business on a national and global basis. So Colorado obviously needs to preserve what it has, but I think you're going to see more in the area of technology if you have a business-friendly environment. You get a little bit of it now in aviation, aeronautics. You see it in finance. The one area I think, just as a note of caution, and that is in the area of energy. Colorado has a huge future in terms, especially in fracking and natural gas, getting the shale. And but there will be turbulence in the energy industry. But I think the amount of natural gas that's going to be coming will help cushion any fluctuations when the dollar is stabilized again. That's going to put a real challenge to natural gas producers. The volume's going to go up, but the price is not going to, you've already seen, the price is not soared up the way it has with oil, and that's going to even be more pronounced. But the good news is the U.S. is going to be a major exporter of natural gas in the next decade. We are the Saudi Arabia of natural gas, and the nice thing is it's clean. Yeah. You're going to see more and more utilities using natural gas to generate electricity.
Steve, would you suggest that either the government, whether it be at a state or a local level, or small business or medium-sized businesses should be responsible for attracting more business to Colorado?
Well, the key thing is, in terms of attracting business, is always to put yourself on the other side and say, what would stand in the way of somebody moving a business here? People are looking for a very friendly environment. By contrast, California has been very hostile to business, which is why a lot of people and businesses have moved out of California. So put yourself on the other side. What are the steps you need to get all the permits? Are there a lot of things that drag things out? And try to streamline them so that people know if they want to do something here, it can be done with dispatch. You can focus on getting it done instead of worrying about how many months, how many years, as it happens in California and some other parts of the country, before you can get something moving.
Could you address your ideas on how the U.S. and Mexico could work better together to harness the rich resources of both, to the benefit of the people of both countries? I bet you've got some great ideas. You know, how to get reasonable voices together in Mexico.
Well, one of the key things in Mexico is, as you know, they're in a deadly war with the drug lords, as Colombia was a decade ago. Colombia won its war, and so in terms of Mexico, I think we ought to be looking what more do they need to wage a successful fight. And one of the things we have to do in the future is doing grassroots campaigns on reducing drug usage in this country. That would help a lot. And also in Mexico, their economy is doing okay, but it's not reached the kind of growth rates that you get in India, Indonesia, now Vietnam, China, other parts of the world. And I think we ought to be providing them with advice on how to make it easier for Mexico to grow. Being next to the United States, it should be doing much better. The nice thing is once you get more growth in Mexico, that means that you have less pressure on people crossing the border. So in that sense, it's a win-win. The other thing we have to do that address is be honest about our own labor needs in this country and have a work program so we know who's here, how long they're here, instead of pretending we don't need it and then averting our eyes when we do need it. Let's get realistic about it.
Here in Colorado, they're talking about different cuts in the budget, just like, of course, we don't know if it's going to be all talk or for real. Do you have any suggestions on things that they ought to look at to cut?
Well, each state has its own particularities. One common one is Medicaid and trying to bring about reforms there. One of the things I like about Congressman Ryan's plan is that it block grants money from Washington to the states to design systems that can better do what Medicaid is supposed to do, and that is help those who don't have the resources to get basic health care. And the way the system has grown is that the reimbursement rates for physicians is terrible, So we have more and more docs and clinics not doing taking Medicaid patients. And I think that the kind of reform we saw in welfare in the 1990s, which started in Wisconsin in the early 1980s, and what works and what doesn't work, set the stage for national welfare reform, which enabled us to make huge reforms there. So getting more reform in Medicaid with things like call them vouchers, call them health stamps, or whatever name you want to give to it, where you get the patients taking more initiative in terms of getting value for the resources would help. Another thing is obviously pensions. Every state has problems with it, and the quicker we get for new workers 401k-like plans where you get what is in the plan, not what some politician promised you, who figures he won't be around or she won't be around when the bill comes due, would be very helpful.
Go ahead. You have some very practical solutions, it seems like. Are you sure you're not running in 20?
That's probably why I wouldn't win. So, no, I've done it twice, and so I'm going to try to educate and agitate.
All right.
In addition to the quality of life here in Colorado, are there other things that you see that are going to lend to our bright future in this state, through innovation or otherwise?
Well, the key is having that environment, and then you do have the also natural resources, which a lot of other states don't have. Dakota's doing well now because of it, and so make sure you don't stand in the way of that coming to full fruition. I can't wish you well on the, well, I can since in the National League. The Rockies, just when you come in the World Series, I might be rooting for.
We learned yesterday actually that, was it the highest number of retired Fortune 500 executives have homes in the state because of that quality of life. And somebody said how important it would be to bring that board experience to our companies. What role do you see board members playing in the future?
Well, it depends on what role they want to play. Some of them may want to just go to Rockies games, Broncos, and others may want to do some part-time work hanging out their shingle. The nice thing about the internet is you can find these resources, and and it's up to others to tap those resources. So, yeah, maybe they can buy boxes of Rockies games too.
That would help you.
Yeah. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs today?
Well, entrepreneurship covers everything from coffee to high technology. And the key is doing things either a little differently or figuring out how to use inventions better than anyone else. And the other thing, though, is understand you're an entrepreneur. You're leading a very focused life. You're going to be spending a lot more hours doing this than other people are going to be doing other things. And if you're not up for that, then don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
It is total commitment. The thing is, you're going to have to make choices. Sometimes it's going to really seriously impinge on the personal side. You got to be ready to make that kind of
Capital. So in today's economy, how does a small business entrepreneur find capital to take them to the next level? Venture capitalists are not they're not interested.
So several things on that. One of the usual suspects, banks, SBA, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Friends and relatives hitting them up again.
Yeah.
And but also starting exchanges on the internet. Here's a good idea. Here's what I'm willing to put up in terms of equity. And I don't know if any of you've seen that show Shark Tank or whatever it is on TV, where you go before this panel. There's not enough. They take too few to make a difference for this constituency, but they say for $50,000 they'll give you 25%, and you take it from there. And the key thing is to also have your clients badge your representatives in Washington to repeal or substantially alter Sarbanes-Oxley, which makes it extremely difficult for companies to get outside financing or going an IPO because of the huge costs on the accounting. And which is crazy. Hong Kong does more IPOs than New York now because of those crazy regulations. And with high technology, it should be very easy to do IPOs in small.
How would the free market have stopped something like 2008 from happening?
Free markets don't work if the government doesn't do its part.
Okay.
When you trash your money and print too much money, crazy things are going to happen. In this case, it hit the housing industry the craziest. Fannie and Freddie, two government creations, $1.5 trillion of suspect paper. The thing mark-to-market accounting, which destroyed bank capital until it was stopped by Congress in March of 2009, deepened the crisis. So it's all about sensible rules of the road. And again, it's one thing to say don't go 90 miles an hour in the school zone, quite another to tell people how to when they can drive a car and or what cars they're allowed to drive. So sensible rules, and then markets can work. James Madison, who's the father of our Constitution, pointed out we are not angels, therefore we need laws, we need government. If we were governed by angels, we would not need checks and balances. But we are governed by humans, and being humans, we do need sensible laws. The word is unsensible, not crushing, or laws that are so vague. You don't know what the real rules are, and therefore government can go after you anytime it wants. Not a good thing.
Thank
But,
you.
Thank you.